This is the DC Sniper Part 2.
They so caught up in my pie, but don't know what's inside. I've been down and I've been up, still ain't giving up.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl B Octavia. In today's video, I will be talking about the DC Sniper himself. John Allen Muhammad carried out a series of attacks that ran a course of 3 weeks long, killing 23 people, including children. He goes down in history as one of the most horrendous, one of the most fearful, one of the most unapologetic American serial killers. So I want to talk about him coming back from the army, the tours that he did in the army. I want to talk about, in specific, him coming back with PTSD. You start to really believe that the people that love you are against you. You start to feel like the people that just walk past you have an issue with you. You start to feel like bystanders, just anyone, is at war with you. What I want to talk about with PTSD is I want to hone in on PTSD in the black community and mental health in the black community in general. And it's not just in the black community. When army veterans come back and they are different in personality, different in how they carry themselves and what they say, we really don't know how to take that, but we take it with love. It's a very serious topic, as well as it's very dangerous to not understand or be aware of how to help someone with PTSD. People with PTSD do have situations where they get very angry or very violent. In a situation like that, I really don't know. I really can't speak on what you can do. And because it's such a sensitive time, you don't want to call the police on your family member or on your significant other, and they get gunned down because the police doesn't understand what's going on. And you yourself don't understand. But mental health in the black community is a very serious topic because it's not really talked about a lot. And I say that to say, in the black community, you don't really hear depressed a lot, especially a decade ago, 2 decades ago, even farther back than that. Anytime you would hear that, the response will be, oh, you just need a minute to yourself, or oh, you'll feel better later, shake it off, he'll be fine. You know, just something sweeping it under the rug, and nothing gets better that way. You know what I'm saying? Nothing gets handled. When you're coming back from the army and you've done several tours, such as the DC Sniper has done, I feel like you have to do therapy. Now, that's their problem. That's the Army's problem, because they really don't set up Army vets the way that they need to. And I'm not making excuses for the DC Sniper. I'm just saying what's facts. They don't really set them up with therapists and with people to actually help them come back into the real world, into, you know, a world where it's not civilians that got bombs strapped to them. You know what I'm saying? That don't happen every day. So they don't set the army vets up in these ways so that possibly things like this won't happen. I watched a documentary on his second wife, and she talked about him coming back from his tours and him being completely different, down to him not smiling anymore, him not being affectionate towards his kids. Just small things that can really put a strain on a relationship, and which it did. She told him that she wanted a divorce, and he didn't take it well, but he didn't take it well in a very silent way. And she said that what he would do was, she would be sleeping and he would just come in the house because he had a key in the middle of the night, early in the morning, sit down in a chair adjacent to her bed and just stare at her. If that ain't the scariest shit I ever seen, Now, you might say, well, it's still his house, whatever the case is. It had already came to a point where they live in two separate places. Ain't no reason why you gotta sit adjacent to the bed. Hell nah. She really started to fear for her children's safety being around him unsupervised. Rightfully so. If you have a feeling, this is no bullshit. If you have a feeling that your child would not be safe, if you don't trust the person that you leaving your child with, no matter how many years y'all known each other, no matter how many times y'all been in the bed, no matter how many, you know what I'm saying, you can't ignore those feelings. A custody battle ensued. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he was granted visitation, and then he stole the fucking kids. Okay, so he stole the kids and went to a third world country, which that's the first strike on him actually doing something that is a characteristic of revenge. He's trying to get back at her. When he came back from the army, he didn't show no interest in the kids. And that might not be on him, but that's just the truth. He didn't show no interest in the kids no more. So it's no reason why you should take the kids out of the country if it's not to spite the mother of those kids, which it was. So the kids were there with their dad, and then he picked up Malvo. Now I will be covering Malvo in the third and final installment on the DC Sniper. But he stole the kids. He then got an orphan named Malvo. After the kids got returned, that is when the attacks started to happen. Now, one attack in specific happened earlier than the DC Sniper attacks, and it occurred in February 2002. His second wife's niece heard a knock at the door. She left her child upstairs to go answer the door. When she opened the door, she was shot and killed. So this happened February 2002. I truly believe that if the police would have pieced certain things together and made it make sense, and not made it make sense like force it, but it's right there. Even if you get him evaluated, if he is granted visitation, my whole thing about it would be I want him to get evaluated first. If they would have pieced it together and seen what I see, because February is months away from October, where we're at 17 years ago. February is months before that. So just to think that we possibly could have avoided this whole thing. I'm blaming the army. And I am blaming him. But I feel like, I truly believe that he did all of these shootings to get back at and to get revenge at the enemy. All of the shootings occurred around where she worked, around where she lived. So it only makes sense to me. Now, because when you think about it, if an army vet is coming back from an actual war and they are in a mental space where they feel like they're still at war when they're not, a custody battle is war, a divorce is war, and the opposing person is the enemy. So it only makes sense to me. But the last part of this video and what I want to do is say the victims and the shootings that occurred and the people that lost their lives. I feel like you guys should hear how senseless, and should really know and appreciate this week and appreciate life. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm doing, and that's what I take from saying the victims' names and saying how they were hurt and how they were wounded, how they were killed. You know what I'm saying? So, October 7th, 2002, Iran Brown, a 13-year-old boy, was shot outside of a middle school in Maryland. October 9th, 2002, a tarot card A tarot card was found close to where the shooting occurred. If you guys don't know what a tarot card is, it's basically what the psychics use to read your life, basically. And the tarot card that they found was a death card, and it said, "Call me God." So that was a clue into who had done these things. October 9th, 2002. 53-year-old Dean Myers was in Manassas, Virginia, and was killed while he was pumping gas. October 11th, 2002. 53-year-old Philly businessman is killed outside of an Exxon gas station near Fredericksburg, Virginia. These 4 victims this week, I pray that your family has found peace. He didn't have any remorse, and it's very sad. He really thought that he was at war to a point where he would gun down innocent people for no reason that made sense. The end of the shootings came October 24th, 2002. The end of a scary 3-week rampage. John Allen Muhammad and Lee Boyd Malvo were arrested. They were found sleeping in their 1990 Chevy Caprice in Frederick County, Maryland. 2 years after the DC sniper attacks, John Allen Muhammad received the death penalty. November 10th, 2009, 5 years later, John Allen Muhammad was finally put to death. Now, that's not fast enough, but it is what it is. It's done. There is another person that carried out the attacks with him that is still alive, which he was a juvenile at the time, so they have different laws for that. But I'll have what I think of him in my next DC Sniper video. So make sure that if you haven't watched the first one, make sure that you do. If you like what I'm doing, make sure that you like this video, comment your thoughts, and I will see y'all in my next one.